Hi again. Um, so in this video, I was going to talk about um, the rest of my pregnancy up until this point. It might be two or three parts to this video. Um, so to start off, this is not my first pregnancy. This is my second pregnancy. This is the first pregnancy that will go to term. The first pregnancy ended in a miscarriage. The first pregnancy was not planned. It was a bit of a surprise, a welcome surprise. I was very happy that I was pregnant. It was not a normal miscarriage. It was a miscarriage. For those of you that don't know what a miscarriage is, it's where the pregnancy continues and the baby stops developing and stops growing. Generally happens very early in pregnancy. I found out I was 12 weeks pregnant, and I started to spot. I went to the hospital, just to get checked out, and they did an ultrasound, and they could not find a heartbeat. I wanted a second opinion. I wasn't just gonna leave it at that. So I found out, that I had indeed lost the baby. The baby stopped developing at 8 weeks. I had the choice to either get a D&C or wait and see if if the miscarriage started on its own, or I had the choice to use a drug called Cytotec. I did not want to do the D&C because I wanted to bury the baby. I wanted to be able to see the baby, and an 8-week baby is very, very small. I mean, the doctors told me that I wouldn't even find the baby, that it would just be bleeding, and I inserted the Cytotec. I had the choice to either take it orally or insert it vaginally, and I inserted it vaginally. My recommendation for that: don't ever do Cytotec. I'll explain it. But about an hour later, I started to cramp. It started off mild, really mild. They sent me home with this. This was what I did at home. They gave me a pain medication called Dilaudid for when the pain got really bad. However, like I mentioned in one of my earlier videos, I have really bad reactions to narcotic pain medications, so I did not take this. So I went through this labor completely unmedicated. About 3 hours in, it started to get pretty bad. The pain was extremely intense. It was like no other pain I could explain. The only way that I know how to describe the pain would be, it was like a white hot poker in my stomach, just twisting around. I laid in the bathtub, warm water, for the duration of the labor. My mama was here with me, my fiance. The only thing I could do was just lay there and scream and moan, and it was really bad. I finally, at about 2 a.m., I inserted the cytotec at about 9 p.m. that night. At about 2 a.m., I passed the baby and the placenta. I did identify the baby. We buried it that night. Before I knew that I had any complications, we went and buried the baby with my grandpa, who I was really close to. And it was about 8 hours of labor. I did not know that I was having complications. I was uneducated about it. I didn't know I had postpartum hemorrhage. I did not know anything about postpartum hemorrhage, and I kept calling my hospital, and they were telling me that this was normal, and I was bleeding extreme amounts. I mean, I got in the bathtub whenever I delivered the baby and the placenta, and before I could even, identify the baby, which was pretty much immediately, the whole bottom of the bathtub was full of blood. I mean, it was so much that it actually clogged the drain, and the bleeding just kept getting worse and worse for the next 8 hours. And I live an hour and a half away from a major hospital. We have a little city hospital, but it's not, I mean, they stabilize you and send you to another hospital. They don't really deal with other, with major problems. But I got to the hospital after I started passing out. I didn't know what was going on. I started passing out after, it was about 8 o'clock that morning. My fiance had just left for work, and I had just woken up, and I went to the bathroom, and I was passing blood clots that were huge. I mean, they had to have weighed, 1-2 pounds. They were huge blood clots. They were painful to pass. I mean, they were huge. And I got rushed to the hospital with a level 3 blood loss. I ended up having to get an emergency DNC anyway to stop the bleeding because I did not pass all of the placenta. And I had to get blood transfusions. I was in the hospital for a while. And, it was such a close call that I had to come back for a 2-week checkup after the surgery. And the doctors, that had treated me at the hospital that day actually, they were telling me they were glad that I was still alive, that if it had been 30 more minutes, I wouldn't have made it. I know those kind of things are really rare, postpartum hemorrhage, but I do feel like the cytotec had something to do with that. I just don't feel like I should have been in that amount of pain for an 8-week pregnancy to, that kind of miscarriage. I mean, it was extremely intense. It was the worst pain I'd ever been in. I thought I was going to die. But I've got 27 seconds left, so I'm going to wrap this part up, and my next video will be about this pregnancy. I know I got kind of sidetracked, but yeah, that was the story of my first pregnancy. So I will see you guys in just a minute. Bye.